Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, I have a very interesting story for you, but I do want to give a warning that this episode does have graphic content. Also, please let's keep the comments to a respectful manner. These are true stories, and families and friends of the victims might read these comments sometimes. Okay, so today's story is about Ellen Ray Greenberg. This goes back to January 26th, 2011. With a snowstorm hitting northern Philadelphia, an elementary school teacher named Ellen Ray Greenberg was dismissed early. Ellen goes and fills up her gas tank before driving back to her shared apartment with her fiance, Sam Goldberg. Sam is 28 years old. He's a TV producer for NBC News. On this day, both Sam and Ellen are both home. They're hanging out. And Sam decides he's gonna go for a workout. So at about 4:45 p.m., he goes to the gym and gets his workout on. 45 minutes later, he returns to a locked apartment. He tries unlocking the door with his keys, but the door only cracked a few inches. And this is due to the swing bar that was locking the door from the inside. So being that he's locked out, Sam calls for Ellen and starts banging the door repeatedly. But there wasn't any answers. And for over 20 minutes, he's texting Ellen, increasingly getting irritated with each text. And some of the text messages are, "Hello, open the door. What are you doing? I'm getting pissed. Hello, you better have an excuse. What the F? You have no idea." In the end, he decided to go get help. So according to Sam, he goes to the security guard for tools to help him break into his own apartment. So Sam is going back and forth to persuade the guard, but he refused as it was against the apartment policy for anybody to break in. The guard to break in. However, the guard did accompany Sam as Sam forced his way into by kicking his own door down. To Sam's horror, his fiance was slumped lifelessly against the kitchen cabinet. He immediately dialed 911 and performed chest compression on Ellen. After the initial shock, he notices a knife lodged in her, whereby the 911 dispatcher quickly put the CPR to stop. When paramedics arrived, they pronounced Ellen dead on the scene at 6:40 p.m. So Ellen was born on June 23rd of 1983 in New York City. Ellen is the daughter of Joshua Greenberg and Sandra Greenberg. They both worked in the dental field. Joshua describes Ellen as a girly girl who is very athletic. Ellen is described as incredibly kind and a nurturing soul. Because of her nurturing characteristics, Ellen went into teaching, and many of her students absolutely adored her. So Ellen meets a man named Sam who worked in the TV industry. Sam was a producer for NBC, and after being together for 3 years, the couple ended up getting engaged. Ellen was happy at this time in her life. They had planned to have their wedding in August of 2011. Ellen's father says they were both excited. She had finally found a man that she absolutely loved. He approved of the engagement and planned to help out with the wedding. The day of the tragedy, on January 26th of 2011, Ellen was on the way back to work and spoke to her mother on the phone. It was a typical conversation. They talked about their taxes and the snow falling there in Pennsylvania. The snowstorm ended up getting much worse, and they dismissed school early that day for her. Ellen helped all her students call their families and make sure everyone had a ride home and everybody got safe. After all her students were gone, she went and got some gas and then decided to go home. At home, her and Sam, the couple, are hanging out for a little while, and then Sam decides he wants to go for his workout at 4:45 p.m. So Sam goes and gets a workout for 45 minutes. He heads back to the apartment and realized that their door was locked. It was very unusual for her to be home and close the door. The door was not locked as usual. It was closed with a swing lock. They only did this at night, just for safety, and never did it during the daytime. Sam starts texting her and tells her that he is home, waiting at the door. He also says that he's getting very aggravated and cannot open the door. Sam started to worry when Sam got no response, so he goes to the security guard to ask him to open the door. The security worker tells Sam that he could not open the door for him because it is against the policy. So Sam decided to just break into his own place and pay for the damages. So Sam had the security guard supervise as he breaks in. So when Sam breaks the door down, he is initially shocked. Sam finds Ellen on the floor of their living room, and when he saw her, he could tell that she was deceased. Ellen's body was leaning against the cabinet, and Sam found a white clean towel in her hands. Sam immediately calls the police, and the dispatch tells Sam to start chest compressions immediately. He begins CPR, but realizes a knife was lodged in her. So the dispatch officer told him to stop. When the EMTs got to the scene, they couldn't do anything to save Ellen. Ellen was pronounced dead at 6:40 p.m. So I want to play the 911 call for you guys so you can listen to what it said. Warning, it's graphic and it's also about 5 minutes long, so feel free to skip forward.
Help, I need a emergency now. I just walked to my apartment. My fiance's on the floor with blood everywhere.
What is the address?
4601 Flat Rock Road. Please come help now.
4601
Flat Rock Road.
Is this a house or apartment?
Oh no. Oh no. It's an apartment.
What apartment number?
603.
Apartment 603.
603. Please hurry, please.
Where's she bleeding from?
I don't know. I can't tell. She's.
No, sir, you have to calm yourself down in order to get you some help.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm looking at her right now. I can't see anything. There's nothing broken. She's bleeding. Ellie!
You don't know where she's bleeding from? Can't tell
Ellie!
where the blood's coming from?
I think her head. I think she hit her head, I think. But it's everywhere.
Okay,
it's everywhere.
You think she might have fallen? Do you know what happened?
She may have slipped. There's blood on the table. Her face is a little purple.
Okay, hold on for rescue for her. Stay on the phone.
Fire Department 842. What's the address? No.
4601 Flat Rock Road. Please hurry.
4601 Flat Rock?
Yes.
What's wrong?
I went downstairs to go work out. I came back up. The door was latched. My fiance's inside. She wasn't answering. So after about a half hour, I decided to break it down. I see her now just on the floor with blood. She's not responding.
Okay. Is she breathing? Look at her chest. I need you to calm down, and I need you to look at her chest. It's really.
I really don't think she is.
Listen to me. Someone's on the way. Look at her chest. Is she flat on her back?
She's on her back. So I bring her.
Look at her chest and tell me if it's going up and down, up and down.
I don't see her moving.
Okay. Do you know how to do CPR?
I don't.
Okay. I can tell you what to do. Okay, until they get there. I want you to keep her flat on her.
God.
Hello.
Yeah, hi, okay.
Are you willing to do CPR with me over the phone until they get there?
I have to, right?
Okay, so get her flat on her back, bare her chest, okay? You want to rip her shirt off.
Oh, shit.
Okay, you need to kneel down by her side.
Oh, my God. Ellie, please.
Listen, you can't freak out, sir, because you
Okay, I'm trying not to. Her shirt won't come off. It's a zipper. Oh, my God. She stabbed herself.
Where?
She fell with a knife. Oh, no, her knife's sticking out.
Her what?
There's a knife sticking out of her heart.
Oh, she stabbed herself?
I guess so. I don't know where she fell on it. I don't know.
Okay, well, don't touch it.
Okay, so I just let her down here now. I mean, what do I do?
No, I mean, you can't. If the knife is in her chest, it's going to be kind of hard for you to do CPR at this time.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Police, which operator?
277.
Is someone coming here?
Yes, they are. You said 4601 Flat Rock, right?
Yes.
Okay, someone's on the way. And the knife is still inside?
Wait, so what?
The knife is still inside of her?
Yes, I didn't take it out.
Is it her chest or what area?
It's in her chest. It looks like it's right in her heart.
Okay, someone's on the way out there. Okay, just get.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Okay.
How old is she?
She's 27.
27. And there's no sign of life at all?
No, please don't be. What?
Been turned to her arm and tell me if she responds to pain.
Ellie. She's not. Her hands are still warm. I don't know if that means, but there's blood everywhere. I mean.
I know, but you can't, and the knife is still inside of her. How far? Can you see how far it went in?
It looks pretty deep.
Okay.
It looks it's a long knife.
Don't touch anything.
Yeah, don't touch anything, okay?
I'm not touching anything. I can't believe this, though.
So wait, it was just you there with her?
We're the only ones here.
And she ran in the door, you said latched it shut?
No, I went downstairs to work out, and when I came back up, the door was latched.
Oh.
Like it was, it wasn't like it was, it was like locked from the inside, and I'm yelling. So I'm
was
yelling
your house
and
broken into?
No.
So there's no sign of a break-in?
No sign of a break-in at all. I mean, there will be when you get here because I had to break the latch, but to get in.
Okay, 4601 Flat Rock, and this is a house, right?
It's an apartment, apartment 603.
Okay, that'll help. Apartment 603.
Oh my God. All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
So after the police arrive, they decided to treat the scene as a suicide. At the scene, the police found freshly cut fruit and there was a strainer with freshly washed blueberries. They have found no evidence of a break-in or forced entry. Ellen did not have any defense wounds either on her. There was no evidence on Ellen's body that she had tried to fight anyone off, and there was no evidence of blood outside of the kitchen area. The knife found in Ellen only had her DNA on its handle. Since the snow was so prevalent that day, they checked the snow for footprints, but nothing was found. Before going into the details of Ellen's body, I would like to say that it may be disturbing for some readers, so this is a caution. The day after her death, the medical examiner started the autopsy process. The medical examiner found 8 stab wounds to her chest area, and they varied in depth. Some of the stab wounds only went 2 centimeters deep, while others went 4 inches deep. Ellen also had a 2-inch stab wounds to her stomach and 2.5-inch gash on her scalp. Ellen had 10 stab wounds to the back of her neck and 11 bruises on her right arm, abdomen, and right leg. Some of these bruises look old, and some of them look like they were more recent. At the end of the autopsy, the medical examiner ruled the case as a homicide. So I do want to say we have to question these bruises because they're old. Now, is this from her playing some type of sport, or was she in an abusive relationship? Now, no one from the police station or the medical examiner's office contacted Ellen's family about the change in the case. The family found out about the change in the news. Once the case was ruled a homicide, the Philadelphia Homicide Unit decided to step in and examine the situation. The Homicide Unit looked at Sam's key fob records and tracked where he was in his apartment complex. The Homicide Unit was also able to see that no one unauthorized entered the complex. Sam had an alibi and a match, and he was cleared from the suspects list. I don't think the building complex had any cameras that looked at the gym or anywhere else, only at the main entrance and in the lobby. A few days later, on January 29th of 2011, the police announced that even though the medical examiner ruled the case as a homicide, they were still looking at the situation as a suicide. This baffles me because the coroner is saying one thing, but the police decided to go a different route. As the investigation continued, the investigators found out that Ellen's mental health had most likely declined within the last 2 months of her life. People said that Ellen seemed anxious and worried about everything. When Ellen was asked about her emotions, she told people that it was her job. The police brought some teachers in from her school and interviewed them. The teachers told the questioners that Ellen seemed really stressed out by the job and did not seem to be any more stressed out with the job than any other teacher. I mean, teacher's job is already stressful as it is. You're handling, 20 to 30 students at a time, and here you are, you're gonna be stressed out. Kids are tough. Ellen's parents said that Ellen had called him and told him she wanted to quit her job. Ellen also asked if she could move back into their house in Harrisburg. This is what I'm talking about. She's got bruises on her. Why does she want to move back to Harrisburg with her parents? Ellen's parents asked if there was anything else causing her to think this way, and she told her parents that she was just stressed out. Her parents thought it was very odd for her to act like this due to her wedding being a few months away. Ellen's parents wanted her to go see a psychiatrist, and she did. Ellen had 3 visits with a psychiatrist, and it seemed to improve her mood and mental stability. And Ellen's psychiatrist notes, the psychiatrist says that Ellen is not suicidal. Ellen was diagnosed with an adjustment disorder and anxiety. Ellen was prescribed multiple drugs to take, which list suicidal thoughts and tendencies on the symptom list. At the time of Ellen's death, toxicology reports only have 2 of the 4 drugs prescribed to her in her system. No recreational drugs or other prescriptions were found. Zoloft, one of the antidepressants, has been argued to be the possible cause for her death. This is due to the symptom of suicidal thoughts and tendencies. After looking through her phone, they did not find any other clues of suicidal searches or texts. Now here's the argument. The police were looking at this as a suicide due to the lack of evidence of forced entry. Others argue that this could not have been a suicide because she had stab wounds on the back of her neck. Stabbing yourself in the neck is extremely difficult, especially on the backside of the neck. You gotta imagine, you have a huge knife, kitchen knife, and you're trying to stab yourself back there to do some serious damage. Research shows that about 1 to 3% of suicide attempts are by stabbings. Another thing people have been arguing over is the fact that Ellen stabbed herself multiple times, 20 times. The sergeant and investigators assigned to the case took superficial wounds as an indication of Ellen hesitating and testing out stabbing herself before going for the actual stab. Because remember, she had small stab wounds that didn't go that deep. Then they found those really deep gashes in her. There was also a lack of defense wounds. Another factor that pushed for the suicide ruling was that Ellen would have defended herself against violent acts. However, the assistant district attorney, Guy DeAndrea, later found out that the initial coroner examined and stated Ellen's spinal cord was undamaged. They never did any tests on her spinal cord though. There weren't any documentation trails, whether an invoice or report that the medical examiner worked on Ellen's spinal cord. When the coroner was asked in 2018, she wrote, "I would conclude that I did not see the specimen in question, although there's a remote possibility that it was shown to me. However, I have no recollection of such a case." Also, the no sign of intruder. Ellen was supposedly locked in her apartment on the 6th floor with no signs of intruders breaking in, as the door was claimed to be locked. No signs of disturbance on the snow below the couple's balcony. However, the latch could have easily been unlocked from the outside with a credit card, with tutorials easily available on YouTube. I mean, you could get through these bypasses really easily. They're not that hard. The police decided to contact a neuropathologist to determine whether the stab wounds on the back of her neck severed the spinal cord. If the spinal cord was severed, that would render Ellen paralyzed before the stab wound that killed her would have been inflicted. So if she would have cut her spinal cord, she's gonna drop. She's gonna be paralyzed. The neuropathologist told police that the spinal cord was hit with the knife, but the spinal cord was damaged and not severed. The neuropathologist predicts that this made Ellen go numb and could make the idea of Ellen stabbing herself in other areas more believable. So she didn't sever the nerve, but she did damage it where it would numb her body. She wouldn't feel any pain. So that would allow her to stab herself multiple times without inflicting any pain on herself. So after the medical examiners find this finding that she damaged the spinal cord and she can inflict more pain without feeling it, they reversed the case back to suicide. After the medical examiner reversed the case back to the suicide, Ellen's family decided to purchase all the pictures and documents from the government and send them to a forensic pathologist. The forensic pathologist's name is Cyril West. He is known for contesting the single bullet theory in JFK's case. When he looked over the report, he was shocked to find that Ellen had so many stab wounds. I think we all are. Cyril looked at everything. Cyril said that he could not believe that the police would rule this as a suicide. The family was eager to get things rolling with this case. They hired an attorney and the forensic pathologist to talk to the police about opening the case back up, but nothing came out of this discussion. They didn't want to hear it. The police denied access to records, and the family and the forensic pathologist were angry about this. The family went and filed for a public record request. They eventually got access to the file information, but the family was not allowed to record or take notes about anything they were shown, which is it's very suspicious at this point. A retired police veteran named Tom Brennan offered to work the Ellen Greenberg case for free outside of the government. He took a look at the files and said that it was not a done deal when someone does not have any defense wounds. It does not mean that it is definitely suicide. The veteran also had experience with a case like this before. He said that the case was a homicide. It is called a blitz attack. This is where the murderer attacks the victim with such a surprise, and the attack is so fast that the victim barely sees it coming. So we can imagine Ellen's in the kitchen. One, if we're suspecting Sam and he runs at her, she's caught off guard. Like, so Sam is running at her. She knows him. And these cuts, deep cuts and small cuts. So if this is only a theory, obviously. So a homicide prosecutor named Guy DeAndrea asked to see the entire case file. When he looked into the file, he realized that there was not a neuropathology report. He asked the local police station and the ME where it was, and they said it was either lost or it did not exist. They also found out that the medical examiner didn't have even a neuropathologist staffed there at that time. Tom Brennan found out that the ME had a piece of Ellen's spinal cord at his office. So Tom gets in contact with a forensic pathologist to examine the spinal cord of Ellen Greenberg. The forensic pathologist concluded something different than the first supposed pathologist. The forensic pathologist concluded that one of the stab wounds did penetrate Ellen's cranial cavity and sever the cranial nerves and brain. As a result of this, Ellen would have been severely impaired or lost conscience and would experience terrible pain. Now, when they say cranial nerves and brain, that means there was a stab wound to the top of her head. So she's gonna feel that pain, and she's gonna be severely impaired. I don't know how she would have the energy to stab herself numerous times after that. This forensic pathologist also concluded that there was evidence of strangulation. So now we're looking at strangulation added to the mix here. As people were recruited, Henry Lee joined the team. Henry Lee has been seen in the O.J. Simpson murder trial. He reviewed Ellen's case and said that the number and types of wounds and blood stain patterns were inconsistent with suicide and were consistent in a homicide. Tom showed there were many videos on YouTube showing how to manipulate the swing lock from the outside. Another study has shown that most suicides involving stab wounds are under the clothes and not above like Ellen's were. Another subject of concern was Ellen's computer. The police initially said to the public that Ellen's phone and the computer were clean of any red flags, but other professionals said that the searches were included were quick suicide, Palin suicide, and suicide methods, sex fantasy death, Zoloft, Prozac, depression, bath death, electrocuted to death trying to Twitter in the bath, and euthanasia. These were found on her laptop. Let's take a look at Sam. Sam has never done any interviews. He does not come out to the public, and in 2020 some more information about Sam was released, including how Sam acted at the scene. Sam's story was that when he was kicking down the door, the security man was with him. Phil, the security man, said that Phil never was with Sam. Phil also told police that Sam was not wearing sneakers that day. He was wearing boots. Now, some people have argued that because he was wearing boots, that's very weird if he was at the gym. I mean, I myself have worn boots to the gym before if I'm not doing any cardio and I'm on a rush. So that day also, Sam had also called 2 other numbers before calling 911. He called his parents and his uncle, which was an attorney. Both his parents and his uncle were on their way to the scene before 911 was even called. The dispatch officer also said that during the call, Sam was completely calm. You guys heard the call yourself, you be the judge. The dispatch also reported that when Sam was asked to perform CPR, he asked, "Do I have to?" Sam realized there was a knife inside Ellen's chest. Sam says to the dispatch that she probably fell on it. Another discovery shows that there was little to no blood at the crime scene. This begs the question if someone had tried to clean the scene. There was no linoleum test performed. Recently, it was announced to the public that the door was not kicked down. The door had little to no damage. The only damage was found on the lock, and one of the screws was missing. This screw was never seen again. Sam's family returned to the crime scene the day after and collected all of Sam's devices and Ellen's laptop and cell phone before the police took it. Red flags. Now, these are just some of the theories that have been out there, and I'm gonna just say them. The fiance's 911 call, Sam's call. People don't buy it. Everyone reacts differently, and you can't judge someone in the moment. But how did he not see a knife protruding from her chest through her clothing? I can't imagine that it wouldn't be visible from the moment you saw her body across from the room. However, he didn't notice the knife until he was asked to do CPR, until after he was asked to look directly at her chest to see if she was breathing. And then his reaction is, "Oh, she stabbed herself," and not something more like, "Oh my god, she's been stabbed." Like, this is the first time you're seeing a knife inside somebody's chest cavity. He's already putting the suggestion out there that she stabbed herself. That's the first assumption he has. So he's assuming that she stabbed herself, not saying like she's been stabbed. The fiance's texted to her while he's locked out. They are increasingly angry and even threatening by the end. You better have an excuse and you have no idea. This really underscores, in addition to multiple bruises at various stages of healing that were found on her body, a potentially abusive personality. If he was all fine and well when he left the apartment, why would he be so pissed off as he opposed to concern for her welfare? Then of course there's the obvious question of why he didn't try to call her rather than just sending text messages that she may not hear. And why he took 20 minutes to stand there and text while fuming before going to the apartment security for assistance. And why did he lie and say the security guy was with him when he busted down the door? Unless he wanted a witness upon finding her to lessen the suspicion towards him as the perp. The security guy claims he never accompanied him. He never went to the apartment and never went up to the 6th floor. No reason for lies unless you're trying to hide something. And why would this guy call his uncle, the attorney, before calling 911 when he discovers his bloody and dead fiance in his apartment? So in October 2019, the Greenbergs filed a civil lawsuit against the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office and the pathologist who originally worked on Ellen's autopsy. In December 2021, the Greenbergs pushed to reopen her case, along with new evidence and support from the public. Ellen's mother has said, "We just want Ellen's name cleared. She did not do this to herself and she deserves justice. They try to close our doors, but we always find another way in. We're never giving up." In the latest update of March 2022, it was announced that the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office has reviewed Ellen's case again and stands firm that it is a case of suicide. Thank you everyone for listening in and caring about this case. It's really tragic and I think we all feel that justice hasn't been done right for Ellen. In the description box below, I am providing a link to Ellen's petition to reopen her case. So if you get a chance, please go ahead to that link and sign that petition. I'm also providing her GoFundMe link that helps the family pay for any legal fees. I try to post twice a week, so please hit the subscribe button below and the alert button, so when those stories come out, you can tune in right away. Thank you everyone.